Hello everyone, welcome to a Final Cut Pro tutorial episode today. Today we're looking at how to use photos instead of videos to create stunning videos and tutorials or intros that can go on YouTube channels and videos. The beauty here is you don't really need to have great camera equipment, or you don't really need to buy those expensive phones to review. You can use photos from the likes of the official website and then make use of it to create stunning content. Let's get straight into it. So I'm on the Apple website and I'm trying to create an intro video for the iPhone SE. So the first way is to look for some usable images that can go into your slides on Final Cut Pro as transition shots, which could then be added with some motion to create a video-like look. And then finally you can give some additional music and some voiceover to complete the final touches to make really professional videos that can be used as great content. So I'm sifting here for some more screenshots that can be used to create this informative video on the iPhone SE 2020 version. So yeah, this looks like another screen capture that can give a bit of information, and on top of that can look really interactive as well. So that's what we need to look for, and that's the sort of images that we need to take screenshots of for creating this content before jumping into the Final Cut Pro. So this looks like yet another screenshot worthy image where you can talk about the accessories or the colors of the iPhone SE 2020. So now I think we've got a couple of good screenshots to get started. So you can choose the screenshots, and the easiest way is to simply drag and drop them into your Final Cut Pro timeline ready to use. So I'm just sorting them by the date created to get the sequence right, and then dragging and dropping them straight into my timeline. Now, once it's in the new project in the timeline, just adjust the size to fit your storyboard and then get started. The first step I would do is to use the transform tool here and then adjust the crops to make sure they fill the entire screen and they don't really look like screen grabs and being cropped from the top or bottom and so on and so forth. So do this to all the images where you can adjust the crop and make sure they fill the screen. So this is another element that gives that professional feel. It needs that finish to be able to look like a continuous video rather than broken screenshots. So fill them up in the screen the way you would like. Get all the important parts of the picture in the frame. So a good way to do is to use the fluid transform tool that you're seeing right now and move things around to get filled up in the screen. Some cases, it's even a good idea to adjust the length of these clips on the timeline. Some images you wouldn't want to talk too much on, while some you might have a lot of content ready to talk about. So now we've got all the images filled up. Next step would be to add some motion on these images. So the tool that you need to use here is the crop tool just below the transform, and make sure you select the Ken Burns effect under the crop tool. So as soon as you click the Ken Burns effect, you'll see a start and end, which is quite descriptive from the way it looks itself. So this is to add a transition or a zoom or zoom out or a pan in pan out kind of effect from a starting point or a starting frame to an ending frame. So we've added a transition Ken Burns effect here, and you can already see it's looking much better, getting a transition from an initial screen to an end screen. So this is another way in which you can use captions or features. Start by focusing on maybe one feature, and then end by focusing on another feature by zooming out. And the arrow there actually shows the direction of the transition, and Final Cut Pro has made it quite easy to understand that the green color just means start, and the red color just means where it ends. So this is another option that you can create a transition with. Similarly, continue to create different transitions on all of the images that you would like. A good idea is to mix and match them up so that it doesn't look the same in all the frames of the video. For example, it's not a really good idea to always have a zoom in effect all the time or a zoom out effect, but play around with the arrow, change the directions of the zoom and zoom outs. This kind of gives a flow to the content, and in some cases it's also a great idea to add text layers or text effects on top of this, add bullet points, add transitions, and those sort of things to give more interactive appearance to the actual video. So this is another transition that I'm attempting, wherein you are starting with the full frame, and then you are using the Ken Burn effect to move towards the title of the image. And along with that, you can give your voiceovers and talk about the battery life of the iPhone SE, for instance, and make the video more interactive and more importantly, informative. So now we're on to the last frame. Just for the sake of an example, I'm just putting in a sample transition Ken Burn effect here as well. And in this case, the transition is going to be from right to left with a bit of zoom in, zoom out motion to give that perspective change as well. So once this is all created, you've got your frames in place, you've got the Ken Burns in place, and the next idea that could really fit in is to give a transition between each of these frames. So you could use the stock standard transitions from your transition bar, or you could download a few transitions that look good and just throw it in them in between, and you should be good to go with the different transition. And finally, I would like to just throw in a background music to it as well, which kind of will give it a feel of a music, and then you can further add on voiceovers on top of that to finish off the video. So altogether, it'll look really impressive, and as you can see, we didn't really spend much time on creating any content or taking videos or doing a lot of stuff. All you need is a couple of images, a good research, and you're off to go.